LNG thinking about the dive. Breathe dives back in. The damage going down onto Christmas. He's made with the dash away. Suppressed on GALA will lock him up under the tower. Zika slicing and dicing his way through. The charm connects and line is down alongside him. Easy enough, Breathe just 1v1s him. We talked about how it would be a struggle for Zika. Well, we see it coming up here for Breathe. In and get the damage down onto Breathe, who somehow still survives. Zika down. Weibo collapse. It's 4-0 in favor of Weibo.
And I don't think that's going to be enough to fend off Weibo.
That's a good point, Kobe. In our battle of the LPL, it is Weibo that comes out on top. And it was so interesting because going from kind of the beginning, the draft, into the lane swap, this is the correct team that won off those moves. As we see here in our HyperX Reflex replay, Weibo secured the Baron also after getting picked off a few times to get back in there.
Some of their decisions of when to fight weren't great, but the objective control was the big difference maker, because this game got a little messy, but getting to a very early soul point makes it so hard to play out for LNG.
Yeah, and even when they were looking for a flank in this fight, you see they had vision on Hung coming around. Tarzan's able to get him, and there's the Orianna shockwave going off. There's not a lot for this Nocturne to kind of combo off of, and you know, Weibo, like you said, they might have chosen some poor fights in this game, given some
Look at that goal graph, a little up and down.
In the goal graph, this is an LPL game. But the big standouts for me are Breathe on this Gnar and the way that Weibo set up the map. We talked about how LNG don't like to be disturbed early. What is this?
What are you doing?
Oh, this is the story of the game. It's Weibo carrying Xiahu.
Oh!
Yeah, you may have thought I was being a Xiahu homer, but I was not.
Yeah, that's, I gotta go front off on that one.
Was he being carried or was he doing exactly what he needed to do? His Gnar was super fed, and we actually requested some stats for Breathe on Gnar specifically, Jat, because the guy's insane.
It's been such a power pick for Weibo every time he's been on Gnar, and this game was no different. So he's now 5-0 at the tournament, and on average, he is up 18.4 CS at 14. It was even higher in this game, in small part and maybe in large part to the lane swap.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing that I really want to highlight for Breathe is that his Gnar timings are really, really good. And he even had one super early on when we talk about this lane swap that Weibo were able to set up. I think when he does end up TPing into the bot side to get that wallop off under the turret, that's huge. His Gnar timings have been good. His laning has been good. He did almost a third of his team's damage share in that last game, so he's also just doing a ton of damage, and he's a big part of how they can set up these fights.
Yeah, you mentioned the lane swap, and Weibo really got ahead there. Emily, do you want to kind of break down what they did correctly? It started all with that early dive.
Well, yeah, we're going to look at two cross-map plays here as we play out. This bot dive that I was just talking about, Breathe is going to come in, get that 3-man stun right here, and then you're also going to watch Crisp, where he's going to be able to come around and get out even though he dies on the back side of it. The big thing for me is that, again, Breathe is able to come in. This lane swap had already set him up in a really good spot above Zika's Renekton. I think one of the things that the lane swap did was really take Zika out of the game early to the point where he was getting solo killed by Breathe on the top side. And then we see them being able to set up this kill right onto him here.
Oh, every top laner knows this moment, right? Because Zika TP'd back to top, then got chunked out by Light, and it's like, okay, surely I could walk back to lane. And Tarzan on this corner, right place in the right time.
And I think the important part here is when you're playing Gnar into Renekton, the biggest time Renekton has threat is around levels 4 and 5. But when the Gnar is level 5, when Renekton is level 2, that threat completely goes away. So then he can just take over the game.
And it was interesting to see because there were a couple of things I think went wrong for Weibo in those mid-game skirmishes where LNG came on ahead. Their Gnar wasn't there, but you could already see how strong the Renekton was at that point in time in the game, even with being put behind. Oh, breaking news. LNG choose blue side. That'll be the very first time here at Worlds that they're on the blue side.
And it's very warranted because I do think that even as someone, you know, I think Weibo is going to end up winning this series. That first draft, Tarzan got probably the best jungler in the tournament. Breathe got to play as Gnar again. I don't think
Yeah.
either of those two things are going to be true in the next draft.
Xiahu got to play.
But yeah,
He
he
did.
He got to play Oriana. And the other curious thing on the side of LNG, you know, now that we kind of have a better understanding of the meta on that red side, you do have to ban both the Aurora and the Yone and remove them. I also think it was kind of curious to me because Vi was up. And that would have partnered really well with the Ahri, right? And then maybe we could have seen a little bit more early action from LNG specifically. So I am absolutely curious to see what they bring out on the blue side because we haven't seen them there yet.
And I also don't want people to misconstrue LNG having their first blue side game. It's the first time they've been able to choose their side.
Yes. Yeah.
And they prefer blue.
Yeah.
Because, as Emily just pointed out, the Aurora and Yone are likely required bans. My surprise meta breaker of the quarterfinals, I thought was going to be Sylas. So did Weibo. They just blue side banned it against LNG. So that's the type of stuff that will be open to LNG this time if Weibo actually decides to ban Aurora Yone because they will be losing so many valuable ban slots.
Another thing, we talked about it at the top of the day as well, but this is the first game that LNG played in a long time. And I, unfortunately for you, got to cast my mind back to the KT versus JDG series last year.
Why are you doing this?
Well, because that's a similar thing that happened. I think as the series progressed, we really saw JDG get back to the form that was expected of them coming in. And after game one, I don't feel confident enough to say that the same thing won't happen with LNG. Because even this game, again, was quite close. I think Scout in particular had a great performance on that Ahri. If only he had a vibe with him to go dive instead of that Nocturne.
And I think you saw what we set up in the beginning, right? How well these two teams know each other. Weibo playing the map bidder, choosing some rough fights where LNG could get ahead due to their talent. We'll see what they do in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, LNG's warmed up now, guys. It's going to be completely different. Let's head over to our casters.
Welcome back to Worlds 2024 quarterfinals where Weibo are one game ahead of LNG. I'm still Medic, that's still Kobe, that's still Vedi over there. Now, we have been informed over the break that some people were confused by a pronunciation of Zika's name, Zuka's name. Now, we listened to the LPL English broadcast, and it was pronounced Zuka on the LPL English broadcast, but we have seen some people saying that in Chinese, it's actually pronounced more with an I, Zika. So I think, for clarity's sake, we're going to go with Zika for this game, and we'll continue with that for the rest of the series. This Champion Select is powered by Omen and HyperX, and we are right into Game 2.
By popular demand, Zika! All right, Kalista banned out again for the bot lane prio, and again, the Rumble's still here. Let's see if there is a big shift after the opener for game number 1. I don't think there's going to be another one of those surprises. Skarner taken off as well, so we're already going to get some shifting.
Rumble ban remaining the same on the side of Weibo. You've got to remember that on red side, typically, it is Aurora plus Yone. Now Weibo, the fact that they have an insta-lock though suggests that they're contemplating whether they want to put their plan into effect. And the answer is, yes they do. Nico, going to remain on the ban table, the Renekton taken away as well. This does mean that Scout will be getting his hands on either Aurora or Yone. The question is what the priority will be.
Expect Weibo to leave them both up here. Maybe get rid of the... you don't even really need to get rid of Nocturne because he only works well in conjunction with that Oriana. Weibo taking a little bit of time to think over their final ban. With the Renekton, Skarner, and Kalista having been removed, there is the Ziggs taken away. Where will LNG go first? Is it Aurora or is it Yone?
I think the Yone, if you're looking at precedent for the entire tournament up until now, that has been the preference. And Scout did have quite a good game on the Yone. Xiahu, meanwhile, definitely seemed like we can prefer the Aurora on the side for Weibo. Honestly, there's just so much potential when you get a first pick Yone. Sejuani, for me, jumps up really high in priority. So I would expect LNG on their next 2 picks to look for something like that because you always want to complement your melee solo laners with a jungler like that. Weibo will be expecting this, and they opt to take away some of the laning power of the Ashe. So it kind of is actually playing out as expected, given the 2 power picks traded.
Oh, instant lock-in from LNG. That is a strong topside. We've seen this topside multiple times so far in this tournament.
Yes, we have.
And Weibo, they'll need to round things out with a strong jungler. If they want to, they could also answer with top by locking in your AD carry, the Cassante. Yeah, I love Breathe's Cassante. I think it is one of his best performing champions. And I think into the matchup, we've seen that matchup go both ways pretty consistently throughout this tournament.
I will say LNG's composition lacking a little bit in magic damage, and with the Ziggs already banned out, you're not going to be able to find it too easily from the bot lane role. Yone does do mixed damage. He does have some magic damage in his kit, so it will be, you know, a small bit, a helping of it, but not as much magic damage as if you had a Lilio or something in the jungle.
Yeah, especially since we do expect the bottom lane to be kind of straightforward and go for the engaged support for Hung. And GALA, there's no way GALA's getting his hands on either the Ziggs or the Kai'Sa, as the Kai'Sa also has those AP options to try and shore up what you're talking about, meta, and plays so well off of the all-in. So these are the really expected bans. I guess you get a little bit of leeway on the last one there from Weibo. Meanwhile, you don't want to play multiple melees for LNG into a Braum, and you're looking at avoiding some of these defensive options. The Poppy as well pops up again, as there's a lot of dashes available, so something to think about as a possible ban.
I like the Rakan. I think that Rakan has been returning here at Worlds as a great backline engaged support just because of its sheer mobility and roam potential. And removing that one away from Hung does make a lot of sense. Now for LNG, how do they want to round things out? I am concerned about what AP options they have. You talked about the Poppy, Kobe. They are going to look to take that one away. Weibo now. They should just look to lock in a jungler. Maybe they consider the Vi if they want a little bit more lockdown. They could also consider something like, well, I was going to say the Maokai, but I don't love the idea of Maokai plus Aurora as a mid-jungle duo. It depends if they feel like they want more utility or if they want a little bit more engaged. They could also just go for the Nocturne once more.
Or Nidalee, Vedius.
I mean,
they could always go for Nidalee. Instead, Amumu is going to be brought out there.
The other Maokai.
Yeah, the other Maokai.
More AoE, more circles here. Really, really strong team fight. You have Aurora to be able to make really big picks and Amumu to lock them in place. When you're playing against melee front-loaded early 3 picks shown by LNG, I like the reactions here from Weibo, actually. Really good AoE control versus double melee solo laner carries.
we've seen many teams throughout Worlds propose strategies for shutting down the Yone. We'll see if Weibo's works out this time.
So I also have a preference towards the Amumu because Amumu is very popular in LCS really early on, you know, in our playoffs, and of course was shown at Worlds here as well. That was one thing that FlyQuest actually were able to do. You know, they killed the Yone a couple times. Of course, they lost the game and the Yone was still OP, but they did kill the Yone a couple times with the lockdown from it.
See what Weibo decide to round out their composition with here. We have GALA on a very safe AD carry in that Ezreal, Leona as well for a bit more engage. And if you want to disengage, who better than Renata Glasc to do that for you?
Yeah, putting GALA on the most mobile of AD carries here when they know that there's going to be a lot of counter-engage drafted on the side of Weibo does make a lot of sense. And Renata, again, that ultimate just goes with the theme of the Aurora and with the Amumu here. Very excited here for game number 2. Game number 1 seemed like both teams were very antsy here. And the planning from Weibo definitely had paid off.
Weibo Gaming, once again, going for a team fight composition with a bit of disengage thanks to the Renata, but a similar approach to what we saw in game 1. LNG, once again, looking to try and play through those side lanes. Last game, it was more about finding those picks, those opportunities. This time around, really looking to try and use split push pressure, isolated 1v1s, the early skirmishes, to be able to gain advantages and then create those collapse with potential numbers. LNG, I think, are the more macro-focused team in contrast to Weibo. But we'll see if they can execute it this time around, because in those final fights, that Baron call caught them completely off guard in game 1. And really, that was the nail in the coffin to allow Weibo to secure it.
Yeah, Weibo got the advantage in the lane swaps, got the advantage in controlling objectives as well. And I will also say, since Xiahu did play this matchup versus DK, he's obviously very, very comfortable with it. And Weibo are very comfortable as a team giving over the Yone a second time here in trade for this Aurora that they have already shown to be so successful.
As we get on to the Rift in game 2, the score now 9-8 in Weibo's favor across the course of the year. We'll see if LNG can even out that score once again. Scout on Yone. Not much more really needs to be said. 7-1-7 last time he played it here at Worlds against BLG, no less. And here,
for those that don't remember that game, his Yone found some incredible engages. Within that game, I think he found 2 multi-man ultis that really set up for the Rumble ultimate to just do so much devastation. He's a proficient Yone player domestically, and he's proven it internationally. But here in the early game, Yone is not much of a champ. He doesn't offer much, he's not that strong of a duelist, and he's getting bullied out of his jungle by Light and Crisp. We're looking to get a bit of information. Now, you would expect LNG to look for the lane swap, because this bot lane 2 versus 2 is horrible to play against, and it looks like that swap will come through for LNG.
And Weibo do have the defensive wards up on the top side of the map, so they saw the Jax already. Now they're seeing the rest of them funnel through mid on full vision. Tarzan is here, though, with Breathe. Fight over the chickens. They are outnumbered.
They are very much outnumbered. 4v2 right now. Hung trying to get towards that mid lane. Maybe looking for the flank on Xiahu. And just jump away. The chase is on, though. There's the Zenith Blade into the Q3 knockup from Scout. Ignite is ticking on Xiahu. Chris coming in for the flank because he might look for a bit of a handshake instead. He's got that shield. Heal comes out as well. They try and turn it onto Scout, who flashes away just in time to survive.
A very positive trade for LNG gets turned on its head thanks to the arrival of Crisp. This could have done so much to alleviate the early game pressure onto Scout, but it is he who loses his flash and already burning his pot.
Yeah, now Xiahu, who's comfortable in the matchup, has the extra support here too. Just bullying Scout under tower, continuing to throw out skill shots. No flash on the Yone. Complete control here. Nice stuff, and you see the transition from Tarzan. He'll be slightly slower, but it shouldn't affect the outcome here. Honestly, if you're looking too at the experience level for the supports, Hung only got a tiny sliver of experience through mid lane. So if they opt to go for that defense, then it is going to be a little bit risky for them. But you see Weiwei also recalling and Jungle coming out to try and defend as well. Looks like they're going to go for a similar play.
TP is coming through. Hung only level 1 as you highlighted.
Yeah, Weiwei's on his way. Zika now underneath the towers. Almost 2 plates gone down. Tarzan trying to get these Krugs for level 3. Still sitting only at 2 himself.
Ultimately, I think a good swap for LNG. They're able to funnel a lot of farm onto Zika. And Hung not really punished for the fact that he's on level 1, because Crisp also losing a lot of experience means that he doesn't have that handshake to set up any CC for the team. Breathe, meanwhile, going to go catch top, and ultimately a pretty stock standard even trade for both sides.
I will say that it ended up hurting Tarzan a lot, the delay at the beginning of the lane swap, and him just kind of waiting and watching by chickens. Because Tarzan now theoretically doesn't have anywhere except for his blue buff to go farm. He just goes back and get his level 3, but now he wants to make a play.
Just flashes away. Zika does have a flash of his own. The handshake flashed away from Tarzan, trying to get in with the bandage shots, but he's going to be stunned up with a shield of Daybreak. Tries to flash the Zenith Blade, but can't escape it. First blood to LNG, and they're looking for more. Crisp has no way out. He's put in the dirt by Zika.
The lane swap's on the other foot now. LNG are getting big advantages out of it. There's no camps left there for Tarzan. The level 3 Amumu, an easy target. Weiwei slides in on the Sejuani, and LNG have taken control. Now Light, even under pressure, does have flash and has to use it.
Just a great punish across the board from LNG. I mean, we think about what Weibo tried to do there. The flash commit from Crisp. You talked about it in the previous game, Kobe. He's a player that has high highs and low lows, and that was an ambitious play that got turned on its head. Great collapse from Weiwei. The Sejuani passive getting a lot of value when paired up alongside the Leona and the Jax. And LNG walk away with 2 kills and a 1.2k gold lead.
And let's see what Tarzan wants to do with the extra vision that they had on Weiwei, because Weiwei makes the play on bottom side and stays down there for a long time. We'll see when we get back to live, though. Here's another look at how it started.
And being forced to flash away. Tarzan with a flash to try and sidestep the Zenith Blade. Doesn't quite work out for him. And of course, Crisp had already committed his flash, so it ends up allowing Zika to collapse onto him and get a kill. You're talking about junglers. We see Tarzan pathing back towards his top side. As they have respawned now, at the very least, he will have those camps available.
Yeah, so it looks like he dropped off that ward right there that you see by blue buff during the timing that he had. And then went back for second spawn of the Krugs and is just going to continue to reverse clear there.
Interesting pathing from Crisp and Light. They actually started opening up towards the bottom side of the map, and when they hit the tier 3 there, they've immediately sprinted up towards top to match GALA and Hung. I thought when they passed down bot side initially, they were just going to give up these first set of grubs, but it looks like they might actually want to challenge for them.
Looks like it. I mean, Ashe, this early on, is pretty strong. Xiahu's ultimate's going to offer a huge amount of value as well. The trades back and forth in the mid lane. The wave is in favor of Scout right now. Level 6 for Xiahu.
Look at where Zika is.
One thing I would say that's very rough for Weibo, though, is that Amumu with no flash is such a vulnerable target in the game. You have no inherent escapes yourself. You have to like use an opponent to try and bandage toss away from. And so you become almost a liability at early grubs fights if the early skirmish goes against you. And so Tarzan's like, you know what? I want no part of this. Yeah. I'm just a lonely Amumu with no flash, and they do not want to contest at all.
And look at LNG. They don't waste any time either. Backs from all 3 carries. Zika, Scout, and GALA all at the same time. And how do they reassign the lanes? Well, of course, Scout goes back to mid. They send GALA to bot, and they're going to have Zika try and catch what's left of that wave, while also interrupting the base of Light. This gives LNG an opportunity to set up for the Dragon earlier. And sure, while some farm will be lost, LNG is now in a better position to push out this bot wave, get control over mids, and Zika now hitting level 6. I expect his TP to be available should a Dragon start off as well. So LNG making those smart map movements here, ready for the first Dragon contest.
Usually when you see a team get those first 3 grubs, they are giving up the Dragon. It's a net neutral play. You're trading neutral for neutral. But here, because they get that push early, because they were able to stop Light on the reset, LNG can set up in the river first.
Well, crucially, it's also because Weibo tried to match on the top side, right? Knowing that bot side ended up delaying their recalls has given LNG so much time. And look at Tarzan's positioning on the top side of the map. He's not in a position to contest, so LNG in full control of these early objectives.
Yeah, again, I think that is the correct call for him. Just play opposite side again. He's a bit of a liability at the moment. Weiwei is so close to level 6. Will get level 6 off of the Dragon. Sejuani with ult advantage and flash advantage. Way too much power.
Tarzan, though, getting collapsed on.
Scout's going in for this. Tarzan doesn't have the flash yet, has the curse of the sad mummy, but can't get away from the counter-strike. The chase goes in as well, and maybe his fate is sealed, but the knock into the wall, into the all-out will pull Scout back. It's not quite enough damage, and Zika takes the kill on Tarzan. In the end, LNG get 1.
The lonely mummy, no flash, is eaten up here by the solo laners, and now Zika with double buffs.
Man, Breathe is not going to have a good time in that lane for the next while. GALA surviving by himself on this bot side, has a CS lead, an XP lead over Light as well. Crisp has to burn the heal because Weiwei's on the chase, as is Hung. Flash Glacial Prison, it's cleansed away. The arrow goes onto Hung as well, but he can flash. Zenith Blade, dodge, Light's movement. Absolutely light on his feet there as he escapes the oncoming storm.
Light showcased his movement in the first game, sidestepping charms, doing what he could to navigate that dive, and he demonstrates it once again in game 2. Able to circumvent that gank from LNG, committed the flash from Weiwei, the ultimate as well. Still though, LNG with a kill lead, a gold lead, an objective lead, a good play from Light, but it's not enough to really bring Weibo back here in the early game.
Certainly not. You know, maybe they can make a play off of the next Amumu ult for Tarzan when he does have his flash ready, and they can try and get some gold back into themselves, because if the game keeps going this way, it's going to be so hard for Weibo to control those side lanes with the early advantage on the Jax and on the Sejuani. Trying to keep pace there will be rough.
LNG again making the proactive map movements. They've been rotating this bot lane, ready for the upcoming objective. And look, 45 seconds on the grubs. Zika is bot. You've got GALA and Hung top. They're already able to get that push in. And while Scout is bleeding a lot of farm in terms of gold, he's still in a very comfortable position. So LNG once again setting themselves up nicely to try and secure 6 grubs.
All right, let's see if Tarzan with Amumu ult ready, with flash ready, will come for an explosive second grub fight. Heading over, he'll go straight here through Raptors and head into it. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this one a lot. It's going to determine a lot of the mid game.
No first items. Apart from that, Zeke's convergence for Weiwei has the Glacial Prison coming up in 5 seconds time as well. Hung still only level 5. Not going to crest 6 before the fight begins if the grubs are started on spawn. Xiahu has that huge ultimate that between worlds can control so much space in a fight in the river like this, but LNG are the ones to start up the grubs, and they're going to have 4 before Weibo even breathe in their direction. And Breathe has no TP. He'll just be fighting Zika down towards the bottom side. Tarzan looking for a steal, but GALA's putting down the pain. Mystic shot just wide there on Crisp. He'll look to hit another. Hung takes the 5th. And LNG might even just secure 6 grubs as Weibo. They might as well have bought a ticket and some popcorn. All they've done is watch.
They watched, and I don't think they like what they saw there.
There's the arrow. Hits onto Weiwei. Glacial Prison going down as well. Crisp has the hostile takeover, but they can't get him rage, and the Flash Bandage toss does not connect for Tarzan. Weibo waited too long and still couldn't find the fight.
They watched, and then they whiffed Vedius. That is so rough for Vedius. We were thinking this second grub fight is going to determine a lot of the mid game. Well, it's been determined that LNG are going to have massive split push advantage with 6 grubs.
I don't think they were expecting the movie that they were watching to turn into a tragedy. The loss of Flash from Tarzan is definitely going to hurt him. You've been talking so much, Kobe, about how crucial that Summoner spell is to setting up for these engages. And LNG's composition is very much about playing through these sides. And look at them at the bottom of your screen. A 1k gold lead for Zika. In the jungle, advantages being gained for Weiwei. And again, while Scout is a little bit behind, the important thing to remember about Yone is that's a good place for him to be in. As long as he's not dramatically far behind. If he's going even with you, then he's gonna become a problem.
Yone's great from behind. It's the whole nothing personal kid, teleports behind you, slices you out. That's Yone's kind of bread and butter, right? With the fate sealed. For now, though, LNG in such a commanding position in this game. You can see Scout getting chunked out a little bit. Has himself a bit of magic resist, likely going up towards a wit's end eventually on the Yone. For now, just those Zerkers. Usually you want the Blade of the Ruin King into Stride Breaker combination. Before that, not as strong as you'd like to be.
And Zika on this Jax is just going to get further and further ahead. You look at top lane right now, he's crashing another wave into tower. He even has time to get turret plate money. The Trinity Force Jax just slams that thing, mining gold for free.
With 6 grubs as well.
LNG are just running rings around Weibo. We've been seeing it from the start of the game. After they got that advantage in the lane swap, Weibo have just constantly been playing catch-up. That's a tower secured. Breathe can't do anything to force Zika off it. He doesn't have any support, but it's fine. He has the ward to get away to safety. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, LNG have set up for the Dragon again. Just fantastic macro coming in from LNG. Their map control is flawless. Scout trading in mid as well to make sure that they have some control over that wave. Now, Crisp and Light have been able to get the push, and they have access here to the Dragon.
Yeah, Tarzan's there as well, has the Curse of the Sad Mummy. You can see Xiahu trying to join up with the team. Solar Player going down. Immediately they dive into Tarzan. There's the hostile takeover. Xiahu can try and jump across the wall here. Tarzan falling low. Xiahu diving in. Tarzan gets brought back with the bailout. And what a good fight this could be for Weibo as Chris flashes away from Scout. Xiahu trying to put the damage down. Tarzan still sticking on the Drake. GALA can dive forward though. Just needs to land these Mystic shots. He'll get the resets. He looks for another one. The Light can't quite find it. Tarzan with a smite, 3 HP short, but still secures it in the end. Weibo found something out of nothing.
Can GALA keep chasing here? Tarzan is a little bit trapped.
Well, he's in the jungle, and that's where Tarzan likes to be.
Too bad.
But I don't think he's going to escape from that tree. That's GALA and Hung. Tarzan will dive forward, delay his death for a second, but GALA will get his second of the game.
I mean, it was LNG to initiate the fight. As a jungle support, they engage onto Tarzan, but he's able to weather that engage. Scout's follow-up comes through very late because of the ultimate that comes through from Aurora. He's trying to stack up his Q. He ends up getting hit by the Renata ultimate, and now he can't really follow up. Flash is in, connects with the banana combo, meaning he doesn't hit onto anyone. And then Scout trying his best to follow up, can't really get much. Now GALA is able to get 2 kills, but given how far behind Weibo are, they get the Dragon, they get 2 kills, and Weibo keeping game 2 interesting.
So connecting with the banana means you don't connect.
Correct.
Yes.
Got it. Oh man, the bailout there did so much to give Weibo some hope, but LNG, they're unperturbed by that Dragon going over. They're right back to business here, right back to the objectives, and they're burning down the Rift Trail. Tarzan does show up again, but they're going to continue to focus on this Amumu. It's a Conqueror Amumu. Definitely a viable target to rush on the front line, try and burn him down. And the last one, though, unable to get the extra advantage.
I mean, the Liandry's priority is very common. We see it a lot on moves, but it does leave you in a window where you are very squishy, very vulnerable, as you've highlighted, right? So LNG, they may choose in the upcoming fights to prioritize him, but alternatively, they can just continue to play the map. You can see 3 components completed for the Blade of the Ruin King for Scout. He is just a bit of gold away from securing that item, and it's really that very crucial spike for Yone where he becomes this monster in a side lane.
Yeah, and guess what? Jax is already a monster in the side lane because Zika is rich.
It's going to be very difficult to deal with Zika. Breathe TPing down towards the bottom side to try and catch this wave. Still a 3,000 gold lead for LNG. And although their plans of world domination in terms of taking that Dragon Soul have been delayed by 5 minutes at least, it is a Mountain Soul for them if they can get it. And we'll see if they can in the next 2.5 minutes. As a note, GALA has just passed death as the 6th place all-time kill leader at Riot Internationals with 493 kills across the course of his career. We've yet to see a Penta here at Worlds, and GALA, known for one of his best, the GALA moment. It was on Kai'Sa, but maybe he can show us something on Ezreal here today.
Yeah, we'll see if he can fight Jax for last hits.
Scout, you can already see he's getting favorable trades against Breathe. Hung is there to provide cover. And just you look at the mini-map and it feels so overwhelmingly in LNG's favor. They've got push in top, they have control over mid, the bot wave is well supported, and they're setting their sights on this bot tier 1. Weibo, though, want to keep it alive with investing resources of their own, but what does that mean on the rest of the map? It's Zika continuing to push in the top wave. Xiahu should be able to wave clear for now, but that pressure is only going to continue to mount as they turn their attention to mid.
Oh, what a cleanse from Light. Captain jacking that one, he'll get out. Only has to burn the one summoner, didn't have a second one, so it's good that that was all he needed to escape that precarious situation. True shot barrage just wide there from GALA, was blind into the forest.
It does translate some pressure from top side there. You see Jax kind of leaning down a little bit. It's a nice little rotation from LNG, just in case, you know, Weibo tried to do something crazy there. Weibo, don't actually overextend, don't try and do anything crazy, and regardless, it is going to be the Rift Herald in mid and tower down another objective here for LNG. They can just rotate on over.
Zika's going to catch Xiahu on this movement to the side. They dive back in, though, with the Between Worlds, and now Zika is on the wrong side of dodge. He still gets one with a lamppost, but his life is forfeit, shot down to Light.
A 1-for-1 as Zika, he hesitates, he disengages, he flashes into the fog of war to create space, but he was just waiting for the cooldowns to re-engage onto Xiahu and finding a KO. Now, ultimately, that's not going to result in a huge amount, but the damage was done as LNG unlock another tower. The resets will come through, and the gold lead continues to mount in LNG's favor.
I'm going to be honest, I think that's pretty beneficial for Weibo. They'd already lost the mid lane tower. Light didn't burn flash, Xiahu didn't burn flash, Zika did burn flash. In the end, he's just giving them a bounty for a kill, which is more gold in Light's pocket. He's looking to catch Xiahu here and like assassinate him before anyone can respond. But as soon as he burns the flash, to me, it's a net negative play.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a fair argument. 500 gold into Light's pocket is going to be valuable. The problem is, will it be valuable enough?
Yeah.
As the Dragon is started off once more by LNG, they conceded the previous one. Let's see if Weibo can find another good fight here.
They're looking for it. Tarzan stepping into the darkness. Hung and GALA guarding. The arrow goes down, hits GALA. He'll cleanse. Buffered the arcane shift away at the right moment as well. Zika's in the top lane. Does have the TP. Has a few wards that he could get to, but no real flanking positions. And because of that, LNG will not be able to fight their way back into the river. Weibo will get their second Drake of the game. TP from Breathe to the top lane to match the push from Zika.
And they still have mid lane priority here. They're trying to force them off.
Hung goes in. Tarzan dives forward as well with the Curse of the Sand Mummy between worlds. Now Hung doesn't have a way out. Hostile takeover. Hits on 2 on the back line. Zika's trying to join up with his team as LNG begin to hail the retreat. Light continues to rain arrows into the back of Weiwei, and he's a damn porcupine. Xiahu takes the kill. LNG walking home wounded.
It's Weibo clawing their way back into this one. They make use of their pick, the Aurora and Amumu combo there, to take down an extra couple of kills, and they do invest the teleport from Breathe, as you mentioned, so they will be down a little bit in the side lanes, which is going to be very annoying, as Zika also just completed another item here, so the Jax 2-item power spike plus teleport advantage will just rule the side lanes, but Weibo giving themselves a bit of hope.
I think that Weibo navigated that Dragon setup beautifully. The fact that they stacked as 5, forced LNG away, and then converted into a team fight. The TP response into top lane to create a 4 versus 4. LNG tried to collapse onto Xiahu. He gets a good flash, but this is the combo that Kobe's been talking about. Amumu plus Aurora, it's circles on circles, and LNG don't have a way to respond. Weiwei has no flash available to him, so the chase from the Ashe comes through. And while the bandage toss doesn't connect, it doesn't matter, because Weibo are demonstrating to LNG, we have the team fight power, you have to respect it.
Props to Xiahu in that for using his own body as bait there, then jumps over, then jumps back, uses the flash, pulls in the Leona to separate and allow Weibo to get their picks, really creating something here out of not a lot.
You can see the win probability powered by AWS starting to swing a little bit towards Weibo. Still very much in LNG's favor. They still have a 3,000 gold lead that's going to be extended as they start to take some more of these towers.
And the dragons are very important for Weibo because they want to be able to get these big AoE fights, in their advantage. It's going to be really hard to keep LNG from pulling them apart across the map.
I will say that Zika going for the Sundered Sky instead of the Sterax is going to hurt his team fight power. It's going to reduce his durability in these fights, and it's very much a build tailored towards the side lane pressure, which means that the problem LNG find themselves with, if they'd gotten the second Drake, they could have conceded 3 and 4 in order to leverage their side lane pressure, but Weibo have found ways to manage LNG on the side lanes for now. They're buying more time to scale up, get those crucial items, and you can see Xiahu very close to completing his second now, which will put them in a great spot as we get closer and closer to Baron being a main point of contention.
I think importantly, Breathe is on his way there as well. Already has the Iceborne Gauntlet going up towards that Thornmail. He's 2k in the hole, but in terms of items, we'll be at parity pretty soon with this Jax. If he can get that Thornmail online. And tanks, as they get later on, yes, extra tanky items are helpful. It's nice to have 4 instead of 3, but after 2, you're really pretty tanky for the rest of the game.
Meanwhile, you see Scout there investing in the QSS to deal with the Amumu, to deal with Ashe arrows. So much CC on the side of Weibo. Definitely will get some value there.
But it delays him on 1.3k gold. Right now he is already 600 gold ahead. Basically 600 gold behind if he doesn't get use out of that QSS in the middle of a fight. Weibo setting up towards the top side. They have the vision control around the Baron right now. Next Drake up in a minute's time would be soul point for Weibo if they can secure it. And if they can keep those Mountain Drakes out of LNG's hands as well, it makes their team fight so much easier.
Scout being a bit cheeky as he fishes for a blue buff, but chooses wisely not to overstay his welcome, recognizing that he was spotted on that blue trinket. Gonna go back to catching bot wave, top wave being pushed in by Zika once more. And again, it's kind of a story of this game with LNG consistently pushing in these side lanes, creating these constant points of pressure that Weibo have to answer for. But the pressure hasn't been enough to stop Weibo approaching the objectives. Sure, it may have cost them some gold here and there, but those tier 2 towers remain. And it's important to remember that Weibo has a lot of standing gold. A single good fight can very quickly swing the gold back in their favor, just because the number of towers that are available for them to take.
I mean, they haven't taken one yet, Benny.
Exactly.
So there's quite a few available.
That's what
for
I
them.
mean.
Yep.
Maximum standing gold.
It's so true. Breathe looking for a turret up towards the top side. T coming in as well from Weibo. They will invest to make sure this top tier 1 is cracked. Their first tower of the game is broken.
The blue pings from LNG onto the Baron, they're cautious of it.
Solar Flare going in, TP behind now. Tongue is the first one to be caught out. Tarzan winning with the curse of the Sandman. GALA trying to go forward as well. He'll cleanse away. The hostile takeover finds one life brought back from the dead. As the dive goes in for Zika. He'll find another crisp and Breathe. Try to survive underneath the tower. Xiahu looking for that flank position. The dive goes in from Breathe. He isolates Weiwei, but GALA and Scout are still chasing him forward. Up towards the top side. Xiahu's being fought off by Zika. A kill for Breathe. He gets one. The shutdown, but Zika starts to collapse. And Breathe doesn't have a way out of here. LNG find the fight.
Light went right into the face of the Cassante there, immediately regretting it. And LNG, it had been a very good response though, because they saw the teleport top for Xiahu committing to take the turret, and so they force mid instead. In the end, they will be rewarded with the extra dragon here, and we just keep splitting dragons and keep pushing out the timeline for that Dragon Soul.
I think this is an overforce from Weibo. 2 versus 3 is the initiation. The ultimate from Amumu is good, but it's crucial that you have the Aurora there as well. So much of your damage is unavailable. Crisp doing his best to keep his AD carry alive, but Zika finds purchase onto the backline. And with the arrival of Scout, it ends up becoming a one-sided affair. Breathe does what he can, and GALA was not expecting this damage. Yeah, that Breed with a great performance at the end there, but Weibo, they fall short on the fight, and LNG find themselves another dragon.
Oof, even with the Sejuani ult going to the side, still used his cleanse there as well. That one you could tell. The blood was boiling and the tension so high there. Both teams kind of screaming to make the reaction play. That was the chain reaction that came off of the commitment to get top tower gold.
And this is also why so many love to watch GALA. In that play, he did not E backwards, he went in. He says, we have numbers advantage, we have the damage, we're gonna win. He knew the limitations of his champion, and sure, he did get Cassante, as many have before him, but aside from that, he had a near flawless team fight. Incredible stuff from him.
Aside from getting an Iceborne in the face.
Yeah. For the moment though, LNG get a bit more control over the game. It's 2 Drakes apiece, but now a 4,000 gold lead for the number 3 seed from the LPL. Scout, he's not been quiet this game, but hasn't been as explosive as, you know, Zika, who has those 4 kills on the Jax. We'll see how effective he can be in the next battle, because this Yone still is he's come online. You know, he has the Stride Breaker and the Blade of the Ruin King. This is where he really shines as a champion, and when you have the side lane threat that LNG do, the expectation is that Scout will be one of the key pressure points for this team.
Certainly will. The Baron, Vision looking to be denied as LNG sweep through. There is that ward deep into LNG's jungle that the observers highlighted for us. Weibo have TPs unavailable right now, but they're going to be off cooldown soon. You can see Breathe trying to match Zika on the bot side, both close to level 16. Valuable levels as they get that final point in that ultimate. But Weibo with a lot of tools to keep track of the potential Baron start.
A decent chunk of Zika's gold lead is invested in his Seeker's arm guard for the use in a team fight. So on the side lane, not as abusive as you might think, looking at the 1.7 thousand gold lead that he does have individually, and really looking for that possible play for you know, the drawn fight over towards the Baron once they're able to get their side lanes pushing. Try and put some pressure onto Weibo. But Weibo feeling pretty comfortable with both their teleports ready, being able to catch the waves and respond. They have multiple ways to check vision on Baron. They have 2 Scryers, plus they have the Hawk Shot from Ashe. So they should not, you know, get caught leading up to this Baron.
I mean, they've been able to sneak their way back in and get that bit pockets of vision, as you highlighted. And Dragon now in 1 minute 45. A valuable Dragon for both sides, but the threat of the Baron is something that both teams have to take into consideration. We enter a bit of a tense state as both teams just fish for opportunities. They're making sure that vision is well controlled, information is crucial, as that deep ward from Weibo has now dissipated. No TP flank available, but items are being completed. That Bloodthirster just finished for Light, a valuable defensive tool.
Breathe just finishes Jack's show as well for that side lane. Xiahu has a Seekers and a needlessly large rod, just base though, so about 1,000 gold short probably of completing his Zhonya's. Both the AD carry sitting at 3 items apiece too. Really feels like everything hinges on this next fight. Will it be a Drake for Baron exchange, or will both these teams succumb to their bloodthirsty ways and decide it's just a 5v5 in that bot side river?
If there's a Drake for Baron trade, I think whoever got the Drake side of that is going to really regret accepting that trade. So I think the contest here definitely has the chance to be very explosive.
You'll notice every now and then Scout starting off the Baron, partially to charge up his Q, but also to just add that extra bit of pressure onto Weibo, saying, hey, you need to come check this. There's always the threat of us starting it. And Weibo, arrow not connecting onto GALA, did of course have the cleanse available. They were hoping to burn that from him.
Part of that is you don't have a very big window there as Weibo. You've already brought both your top laner and your mid laner towards a mid lane play, and LNG was still pushing out the side lane. So you have to pull the trigger there with the arrow, otherwise you're going to start bleeding out on the side lane. Scout has pushed in top, Xiahu is going to work his way up there now.
But notice how Scout was zoning Xiahu away from that wave as well, really suffocating them slowly but surely of those farm, of that golden experience. Scout now soon ticking over to level 17, but the silent pressure paying off as LNG secure the Dragon and contested.
Yeah, take the easy objective.
Here are the pings, ping, 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 ping. Is it Baron o'clock for Weibo, Kobe?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not. A little bit too risky to like pin yourself all inside of the pit at the moment right now, I feel like. And so this is just Dragon number 3, Soul Point. So not like the game-breaking one that you want to throw everything out right now quite yet. I will say, nicely done from LNG to kind of manufacture that objective with only having to give up some time around the Baron for vision coverage. As well, too, like, decent job collecting, even though Weibo are getting pushed in. You know, it was still a cannon wave, and Xiahu gets back just in time. He still gets the cannon, still gets the majority of the resources here. So Weibo are just trying to carefully still collect as we build towards the really big game-breaking team fight that now is going to be forced, because now we're going to be really pulled across the map with the Baron for the soul trade in 4 minutes time, because Mountain Soul is such a massive, massive benefit when you're facing so much extra damage and AoE on the opponent team.
We're also getting close to a point that we discussed in draft, which is LNG don't have a huge amount of AP. Sure, there's Jax with AP, there's Yone with his AP on his passive, but no truly committed AP threat means that Randuin's gains a lot of value, and the armor stacking is beginning to come through from Weibo. You can even see a cloth armor picked up for Crisp on support. This armor's only going to get... Oh, Weiwei.
Solar Flare. Crisp caught up immediately. Mikhail's from him. Had his finger on the trigger and pulled it, and escapes. The ultimate coming out from that glacial prison.
Are they pinging? They are pinging.
There's lots of pinging happening, but it seems like they're pinging the Baron this time, Betty. Weibo going to start it up. It's what won them game 1. Can it do the same in game 2? GALA dashing forward with the Arcane Shift. TP coming in from Zika. Will Weibo turn the fight, or will they stick on towards that Baron? Breathe on the front line, stunned up. Weiwei brought back the Baron down to 4,000 HP as LNG starts to enter the pit. This is their zone to control, and Weibo trying to fight back. Hostile takeover. Arrow onto the back line as well. The Baron down to 1,400. Breathe kills off Weiwei. The smite comes in from Weibo, and LNG walked into their own demise. Zeka pulled back as well. He'll fall. What a fight from Weibo. And once again, it's the Baron that does it all.
Weibo choose their moment wisely. They draw LNG in. They get the smite on the Baron, and they get the team fight.
A phenomenal Baron execution once again from Weibo. Patience was crucial there, but Sejuani committing the ultimate onto Crisp at the start of the fight was the go trigger. Once that was gone, a lot of the initiation from LNG is reliant onto Hung, and when they start it, it doesn't go the way they want.
Look at how Weibo are drawing them in, getting the Baron so low. And as a jungler, I am just panicking, freaking out right now, because they're both in here. Look how close it is. Back spikes go off.
And the Aurora ultimate was huge, keeping Weiwei out of the pit, shutting him down. Amumu doesn't drop. LNG don't have the damage. And GALA does a great ultimate to chip away at their HP bars, but 0 fall, 2 die, and a Baron is secured for Weibo.
That was so cool. Like they drew them back in, baiting with the low health Baron. Then the Renata ult comes all the way through. The Aurora ult comes all the way through, and they get to throw down and show why in Champion Select when they gave over and they saw triple melee top side of the map. They invested in all of this team fight AoE. Now Weibo with the biggest objective they could possibly gain, the Baron buff, allowing them to take so many towers.
And you can already see the gold swing. We talked about standing objectives on the map from this Red Bull Baron power play. They already have 3.6k, and they are looking to add on top of that piles of gold for them. 4 items on Light, 4 on Breathe, 2, almost 4 for Xiahu. And LNG, how are you going to defend? Scouts off in the top lane. He's doing reconnaissance, but I think his army needs him back at base right now, because the base is beginning to be broken by Weibo. Inhibitor tower in the bot lane has fallen. Scout, you're going to come back, mate. You're going to join up with your team. The tier 2 in the mid lane's gone down as well, and Weibo continued the advance. Scout, perhaps you need new instructions from your admirals, because right now your Nexus is falling, and all you're getting is an inhibitor tower. Now Scout TPs the Nexus tower, the second one. The target curse of the Sand Mummy onto Zika on the back line. He's going to pull the sword as well. Between worlds go LNG. The pullback by Breathe, and Hung is hung out to dry by LNG. Zika dives in, a great counter strike. The re-engage coming out. GALA untouched. It's all on GALA alongside Weiwei and Zika to really turn this one around. LNG holding on to hope, but GALA's down to the twofold Hex. And Weibo, only Xiahu survives, but they've broken the base open.
LNG hold the Nexus. They're able to mount an effective defense while also securing the inhibitor in the top lane.
I guess it worked. The instructions were good.
Guys, Soul is on the map. So on live right now, Soul is on the map, and they have extra members there for LNG. There's so much potential. But here's a look at the force. They teleport in, breathe, and then Scout, as you say, is going to teleport on the last Nexus turret. Look at how much room Zika creates on the backside. It's a solo person Amumu ultimate. He arm guards, jumps back out, and then goes for the re-engage. A huge counter strike for him. Gets 2 of them and just chunks down everyone. Even though Weiwei actually collects the last hits on a lot of these, it is very big. I want to see how LNG, how much they can push as we get back to live with the dragon arriving, the mounted dragon on the map. A critical defense, though.
Yeah, I doubted the orders from the general, but Scout and him were on the same page. The soul secured for LNG, as you say. A critical defense from the siege of Weibo, now Mountain Soul in the pockets of LNG. The gold even. LNG still in an advantage with that soul. But Weibo have broken open the base towards the bottom side. Inhibitors will respawn 30 seconds apart. Weibo's will be 30 seconds later.
Once again, LNG versus Weibo delivers. We thought that with the Baron secured, that was game, set, and match for Weibo. They were going to go to match point, but LNG showcasing that they can still punish you for your oversteps. And now with the Soul, these fights are going to get a lot more interesting.
That was so sick. We have this Baron fight where Weibo draw them in. They win the team fight. They get the Baron, but then forcing at the Nexus turrets, and it's LNG that end up with the Dragon Soul, the Mountain Soul, which goes such a long way when dealing with this Amumu and Aurora combination and so much of this AoE front load damage. Now I feel like for Weibo, it's going to be, the next team fight is going to be significantly more difficult. I think that might have been the key for LNG.
I chuckle because I noticed Xiahu with the Mesh Eyes. 10 stacks with the book. That's how he's going to round out his speed. We're 37 minutes into the game, and he has ambitiously gone himself the Mesh Eyes. I mean, we're approaching the final fight soon enough. Baron is spawning in 40 seconds.
I mean, it's actually mega efficient power with 10 stacks.
I mean, sure,
it's cost efficient at this point, with the movement speed coming out from it, as well as you highlighted, Kobe. So probably picked up a Dark Seal and was like, hell, why not? Might as well. He's looking for that final item. Medjai fits that slot well. LNG stepping in to this red side jungle. Scout looking for Xiahu. Can't quite find him. The red buff, the first target. Tarzan smites early. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Breathe is fighting off Zika. 5 items on the Cassante is making hard work for that Jax to work through. With no Baron for LNG. 6 seconds before it spawns. Quite hard to actually siege in here. The defense from Weibo strong enough. The Baron starts up though by Scout and Weiwei. Will Weibo face into the darkness? Hung is there, he's spotted. The Hawk shot gives Weibo vision. Charter Crystal Arrow only onto Hung. Bandage toss for the chase. Curse of the Stab moving onto the backline. And Hung is almost dead before the fight really begins. Tarzan falling low as well. Between worlds we go. But Zika's found the backline once again. Breathe trying to peel for Xiahu and for Chris. But already we see Weibo collapsing. Zika doing so much work. Now it's on Chris. And Xiahu, Zika will flash away. The reset coming out from Scout because he can TP back into the play. Breathe trying to survive for as long as possible. Zika doesn't go back in with the counter strike. GALA's doing everything he can to get Breathe down, but he can't quite fell. The Cassante.
A close fight, but it's ultimately won by LNG. They have the members to reset back out onto the map. Scout quickly catches bot wave, and LNG will look to secure the Baron. A well-played fight with so many resources invested onto Hung. Weibo couldn't find the fight that they were looking for.
Scout doing a lot of work there, coming in on the Yone, and in the end, with the extra power of the Mountain Soul, it is LNG who win this time around, and they're the ones that get to march on your base wearing purple.
It's not usually that you can see immediately a Soul have an impact like this, but I do agree with you, Kobe. I think the Mountain Soul really spelled the difference.
And it starts out, Weibo, they see this opportunity to get the double Amumu ultimate on Hong and GALA, but then it's all turned around in an instant.
Scout and Zika, the solo laners of LNG, find an angle onto Light with no flash and shut him down immediately. Weibo do what they can to try and turn it around, chasing onto Xiahu. You're seeing how dangerous it really is, but it doesn't matter. The Baron is secured. Ultimately, though, I question whether this Baron is enough. I feel like we're going to go to the Elder, gentlemen, as we approach the 40-minute mark.
I am ready and willing to go to an Elder fight, Vedius. This one is a banger. All right, 4-1 split push here with the added power of the Baron buff. Top inhibitor is exposed, but LNG want to concentrate on mid/bottom here. Double cannons buffed up, slowly whittling away at the tower.
You might as well, right? You can always walk in towards that inhibitor on the top side. You don't need the Baron buff minions to do that right now. LNG pushing in. Light has his flashback up, so can try and defend against Zika. They slowly clearing the wave in the mid lane. Zika's looking to sync up a wave at some point. Now the minions pushing on towards the bot side. Scout diving in. The Enchanted Crystal Arrows going through the uprights. 3 points for that, but not much more. The cannon minion continues to rain down. GALA's going to use the Void Might spawning from those 6 grubs they secured earlier to tank up the tower for him. Zika will take the mid lane inhibitor tower. The bot lane inhibitor tower very low still. Weibo don't really have an easy engage without Amumu's flash and with that arrow down.
Yeah, I mean, I underestimated the siege power of LNG with the poke coming out from GALA and with the grubs as well acting as extra minions to allow more time to hit onto those towers. Good damage was done, and while they don't secure an inhibitor, they still get what they were after. The base is in tatters for the side of Weibo. Inhibitors, though, all intact across the board, and with the Elder spawning in 15 seconds, this will be the fight that decides it.
Yeah, Weibo are just going to have to full send on this one. It is difficult because Scout has the QSS, has had it for a very long time. GALA, with the cleanse very safe on the back line, is able to keep range. So I don't know how Weibo are going to do it this time around, but they're crafting something right now, working their way through the jungle up towards Elder.
Tarzan just walking into the pit, TP coming in, Zika looking for that flank, has the GA. Xiahu takes a Mystic Shot and takes a quarter of his health. Breathe is on the flank here. Glacial Prism going on to Tarzan. He goes back in with a bandage toss. Zika's still flanking, and Tarzan is left to his own devices here. He dashes back. Curse of the Sand Mummy onto Zika, but he's got to stop watching the GA to bring him back to life. Redemption coming out. Tarzan having to run away between worlds, though. Zika continues to dive forward, and Light is extinguished. LNG continue their advance. Xiahu and Breathe trying to survive through it all, but GALA just will not let them. GALA dives in with the Arcane Shift, and Breathe breathes his last. Earlier on this game, it was Breathe who came out on top on the Wolves. This time, GALA has his vengeance. Scout will chase down Xiahu, and Xiahu might escape for a second. I'm pretty sure Zika and Hung will chase him down.
The battlefield has been a bloody affair, but it is LNG that come out on top. A fantastic final fight with an incredible Zhonya's from Zika was enough to cement them the fight, cement them game 2, and equalize the series.
Banger! We're gonna even it up here, Medic!
Are you not entertained? This is the LPL versus the LPL, and I'm ready for 3 more.
All right, we get another Yone for Aurora trade. And honestly, it was pretty close there. Weibo had some really, really big openings, specifically after the first Baron fight. But the defense was good for LNG on their Nexus, and then they never let him sleep.
I'm just happy that it's close, Kobe. I'm happy it's back and forth. We'll be right back right after this.
Red Bull gives you wings.